Hello. Um, I'm here to talk about the network going physical. I don't consider myself to be a citizen of a country anymore, or a city-state, or a city, or or a region. I think I belong to the network. I'm a native of the network, and we tend to take our networks very seriously. And you'll notice that the stuff that we do online on networks is starting to invade our physical lives more and more. It's starting to leak into our physical lives. Something really interesting going on here. You are all familiar with these words. These are words that are built or like pulled out of the physical world, but they've been appropriated to the online space. They all have very specific online meanings that you kind of associate with. And the display has been the most dominant kind of paradigm for interacting with networks and for being online. So we experience the online world primarily through the display. And some people think that, displays are going to be all around us and every surface is going to be a display. And I think, yeah, sure, that's one scenario. But displays can lead us into, interesting places. So it's not always working. It's not always very natural to be using this surface in front of you. This is a photograph of a lady from India who's trying to organize her phone book contacts using paper. So the fundamentally intractable nature of some of our technologies like the mobile phone makes people resort to much more tangible means. They go back to things like paper, stuff that they're more familiar with. And I think the success of the iPad, for example, or the tablet paradigm is because it kind of trades some of the portability of the mobile phone for the tangibility of paper and the tangibility of an object. So there's something pretty interesting going on here. We've been spending a long time putting the tangible physical world onto the internet, or onto the digital or the network. And now I think we're back in the process of putting stuff back from the internet into the physical world. I think this is one of the most interesting ideas in design today, and some of my fellow designers refer to this as putting the web back in the world. I love that phrase. And there's something really interesting about doing this. I mean, I think because objects are basically, you can interact with them intuitively. You don't have to give people a vocabulary to interact with objects. This is a clock that tells time in 3D. It takes something as simple as time and turns it into a tangible, visual thing. And this is a little company that makes toys out of children's drawings. And I think it kind of shows the power of making stuff, making information real. This is a photograph from my home. We have objects all around the place, like you and me, and we use objects to design our world. So I want to talk about three scenarios or three kind of like lenses to look at this change that's happening in design, and look at three social networks that might become objects, or what they will look like if they became objects. The first lens is to visualize meaning and not data. So we have a lot of data, but what we need to do is visualize meaning. And this is a little product that glows based on the changes in weather or financial stock patterns. But can we take this paradigm further? Can we infuse the images around us with more meaning? Can the subtle changes in weather on a photograph like that indicate your health, or changes in the stock market, or can it indicate your reputation online? So you don't have to scan all your social networks. It's rainy weather, your reputation is good, it's getting sunnier, people are saying good things about you. The second lens that I want to present to you is not to defer to the display, not always fall back on the display, but defy the display. I think we need to move beyond the display. This is a beautiful little product I love. It's called, they're called Siftio cubes, and they interact with each other based on proximity. And they do interesting things like play music and change sound, change the screen and so on. But the display starts to get limited in terms of how much information you can convey. That's my iPhone. You can see the number of notifications. Everyone has an information overload problem. So I created a little concept of, connecting that little senorita doll to my phone. So when my girlfriend or my sweetheart is kind of close to my house, it kind of just lets me, and then the doll starts to sing and play a song. So I don't have to go into the screen and find that one message that tells me something important. Rather, I'm pulling what's important out of the digital world and using a physical object to tell that to me. And the doll sits on my desk. It's not really obtrusive. It's not really intruding. But when it has something important to say, it jumps out into the foreground. And that's the power of an object. The last lens I want to talk about is that, I think we need to go beyond extraordinary things and start to put extra into ordinary things. It's about ordinary things. It's not about all the fancy stuff. This is an extraordinary product. I like it. It takes all your Facebook data and makes it physical, and it kind of makes sounds and movements and stuff based on people poking you. And it's a really cool product, but it doesn't scale. Rather, let's look at like a simple product like this, a good old coffee machine. What if I could RFID tag each of my little filters to represent a playlist? I could buy a box. Each filter represents a playlist. It's fairly throwaway technology. I dunk it in there, and it has a small little RFID reader which just reads my playlist. And then as I make my coffee, there's an analogy that this network device could play music for me. So every day I discover new music without having to go through long lists. I merely pick out little stuff out of a box and put it there. And there's this very natural kind of interaction with discovering new music without a screen. Yeah, voila. Could be quite a little, good companion in the house. With the advance of 3D printing, we see that all these objects can now be made at home and can be made by us. And so why not connect them and make them something interesting? This is the last piece I want to talk about. It's something I did way back, but I really like it. We connected a chair to a coffee maker, again, a coffee maker. And when you rocked the chair and sat down and rocked the chair, it made coffee automatically. So instead of going to the machine and kind of like making the machine work for you every time and kind of add to your pace of life, the kind of design forces you to relax a little bit and rock on the chair to make coffee. So I think the whole idea behind all this is, of course, is about behavioral change. It's not about letting people do what they do and get more stressed, but really like make them more relaxed and to create behavioral change. I hope that makes sense. Cheers. Thank you.